Hello, Thrivers. Hello, beautiful souls. Heather here. How are you doing? Welcome here to our High Thrive Live. We do this every single Thursday. Our intention is to help our marriages not just survive the challenges, the ups and downs of life, but to truly, truly thrive. That's my intention. This is going to be a dialogue. I do not want this to be a monologue. I'm going to get very real and very, very vulnerable as I share my personal story of how my marriage almost ended and the one thing that I did that turned everything around for me. So let me know that you're there. Let me know that I'm coming in loud and clear. And I want this to be a dialogue. I'm going to be watching the chat. I'm going to be watching the comments. And so I'd like you to get your fingers ready, do some finger stretches with me, and go ahead and put into the chat. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I'd like to see what your answers are as we go through this together. Does that sound good? Can we agree to that? All right. I see a couple of you coming on. Good to see you here, and welcome. So I'm going to share my screen here. Make this solo. Again, I want you to reach out to me. Let me know if that resonates with you. Let me know if you have an aha moment. Let's make this a dynamite experience. Let's make this a truly transformative experience together. So I'm just going to be really honest here, and you let me know if you can relate to this. So in my marriage, I have felt times where, you know, that little sliver on your mattress. The sliver on your mattress is that point where you're as far away from your spouse as you could possibly be without falling off the bed. Can you relate to that? I've been on that edge of the bed, just completely rigid, completely tense, making sure that I do not touch that man. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you? Have you ever felt that yourself? I've had those moments where I'm on that edge of the mattress, as far away from Ben as I could possibly be, and silent tears just streaming down my face. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this to him. I can't believe we're doing this to each other. How did we get to that point? Can you relate to that? I've also had times in my marriage where things were going great. I've had incredible joy. I've had incredible bliss. I've had incredible moments of being so deeply connected, so passionate, so fulfilled, so secure. I've had those moments. It's like that beautiful wave that we get to ride on. We're going to compare it to a wave. Marriage, life, we have those waves. We have those high moments. And we have those low moments. And sometimes the waves get kind of calm. And have you ever felt this? I've felt this. In my marriage, we've been married 12 and a half years. Those moments of just kind of going through the motions. Things are just kind of stale. We're just going day in, day out, trying to take care of everything and kind of wondering where that spark went. Where did that connection go? All right, I'm seeing yes, awesome. Hi, hello, good. Thanks for joining me. Wendy, Tom, Susan, awesome. Yolanda, great, welcome. So that's the beauty of marriage, right? We have those ups, we have those downs. Now I'm going to show you, paint a picture here for you about that up moment I shared with you guys last week. Let me go here to the next slide. See if it'll go. There we go. Not last week. Sorry. On Tuesday. It feels like a week ago. Oh my goodness. It's been a lot going on right now. So on Tuesday, I shared with you how Ben showed me unconditional love. And how for the first time in my life, that story that I had to be X, Y, and Z. I had to be the good housewife. I had to be attractive. I had to be beautiful. I had to be pleasing to him. I had to make him happy. And if I wasn't X, Y, and Z, then he would leave me. And that I wasn't deserving of love. And I showed in that story how he loved me anyway. He showed me unconditional love, that I wasn't any of those things anymore because I was diagnosed with cancer, right? At the age of 29 here. I'm pregnant and I'm bald and I'm missing a breast and I'm in the fight for my life. The doctors told us it was not going to end up well for me or for my unborn baby, that I needed to abort that child to save my life, right? And Ben, through all of that, loved me anyway. And it rattled me. Because I honestly didn't believe that we could have that level of love in a romantic sense. I knew that I'd received that love from my Savior, me personally, and that I'd received that love from a Heavenly Father. And in a sense, I could understand that in the way that a parent loves a child. But I really didn't believe that romantic relationships could get to that level of love because we're so stuck in that give and take, right? The contractual phase that I talked about last time. And that's where we really have a lot of exhaustion. We have a lot of burnout. We have a lot of marriages really struggle, suffer, and fail because of that give and take mode. Okay. We can learn to work on the same side and we can become a team. However, the third level of love is this unconditional love. And it was glorious to behold. It was glorious to experience that level of love. But like I also said on Tuesday, I didn't yet have that love for myself. And so while a part of my heart started to open up to that, to receive that, I couldn't fully receive it because I didn't yet have it for myself. And I went on a journey, and I want to share a little bit of that with you today. So this was the high moment, right? This was the high moment of me understanding the real depth of Ben's love and the possibility of having unconditional love. That it wasn't just in Ben, but it's something that all of us can find. We have to start within ourselves. So this is the high point of my wave, right? This is the high point. Now I want to take you down to the low point. And it was not long after this. When this picture was taken, it was in the fall of 2014. I was pregnant with baby number 6. That baby was born in January, healthy and whole. She's my little wild, rambunctious 4-year-old now. She's so incredible. But in this process of going through fighting cancer, it truly became what I felt like a black hole in our lives. And it got to the point where Ben and I, we had to sell our home. We had to sell our business. We moved 600 miles up to live on his parents' land in a camper trailer. Our 6 kids, we moved in the summer of 2015 now into a camper trailer east on the high plains of Colorado, east of Colorado Springs. So we were riding this wave, right? And all of a sudden that wave just crashed and I hit the lowest point of my life and the lowest point of my marriage. I'm going to share a picture with you right now. I've never shared with anyone. Okay, I've never shared this before. It's really raw. It's really vulnerable. And I'm going to show you why. Okay. So this is the only selfie that I took that entire summer. It was such a low point. I couldn't even take pictures, we love to share on social media. We love to take pictures of our kids, et cetera, et cetera. But I wasn't even in a state where I could do that. I was poisoned from chemotherapy. I was going through radiation every single day. And I was absolutely humiliated living in a camper trailer with 6 children. If you can imagine this, there's only the bunk beds and then the one room in the back. So we had 2 kids sleeping on each bunk bed. We converted the couch into another bed for our other daughter. And then we had Ben and I in the back room and the baby on the floor between that small bit of ground, that small bit of floor, right, between the bed and the wall. I had to lay our beautiful new baby that we fought so hard to get with on the floor. So hard to get her here on the floor. All right. And at this point, I felt like I lost everything. Here, I lost most of my eyelashes, and I just wanted to take a picture to show what that was really like. I lost my eyebrows not long after this, obviously my hair, but all I felt was loss. I lost my health. I lost my beauty. I lost a breast. I lost our home. We lost our business. I lost my friends. I lost our support. I lost our security. And this thing called cancer was just consuming everything. And I was taking complete blame for all of that. I felt like a vacuum, like a black hole that was just sucking the life out of everything around me. And at this time, when we moved into this camper trailer, I felt like I was starting to lose my marriage. And this is why. My sweet husband, Ben, was very, very close to his family. Living with his family, he naturally turned to them for some emotional support. And it started to look like this. He'd come home from work after working all day, and he'd go in and talk to his parents in their house. And sometimes that conversation would last 15 minutes. Sometimes it was last up to an hour. While I was in the camper with 6 children, trying to just manage and trying to get through, still sick, still being poisoned, still having to go for radiation every single day, trying to feed my kids, stay on top of everything. And I felt like he was abandoning me. And I started to create a story in my mind. I didn't recognize at the time. All I know was that it felt like, wow, why are you talking to your family instead of me? Why are you spending all this time going to your mom? And yet I barely get any of you at the end of the day. I still need you. Where are you? And I did not feel like he was supportive of me in the way that I needed it. And I struggled. I struggled and I struggled and I struggled. And I remember one night I was trying to make dinner. I was making spaghetti. And I was just bawling. I was just bawling. The baby was in the high chair beside me on the top of the little tiny table in the camper. And I'm just bawling. And my tears are falling into the spaghetti. And I couldn't stop. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. If I lose Ben, then I've lost everything because I don't have anything left. And the tears are just falling into that spaghetti. I don't even know if I served it. I may have. If I did, I guess we survived. Tears, snot, whatever. I guess we lived through that meal. I don't even remember that. But I remember I went to Ben over at his parents' house. And I told him, I've got to go. I need to leave. I can't do this anymore. And so he immediately followed me out of the house up to the camper. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, I'm trying to tell you that I need you. I need you here. I can't keep competing with your parents. I can't keep competing for your time. And I can't do this anymore. It's just too much. I've got to go. And that is literally the first time either of us have ever said those words. And I got in our Suburban with him standing at the doorway of our camper, crying, asking me not to leave. But I was in so much pain, I didn't know what else to do. I'm not proud of this moment, but I got in that Suburban and I drove away. Do you want to know how far I made it? 2.3 miles. You might laugh at that and think, well, that's not very much. Good job, Heather. You really got far. But for me, I counted the mile marker of every single one of those miles. The 10th of a mile, 0.2 of a mile, 0.3 of a mile, 0.4 of a mile, 0.5 of a mile, because I'd never left before. And this was the furthest away from him I'd ever been. This was the darkest I'd ever felt, and the most hopeless I'd ever felt, and the most pain I'd ever felt. And the whole time I'm driving, I'm just bawling, watching this mile marker. And it got to the point where I couldn't see anymore, and I knew it wasn't safe to keep driving, so I pulled over. And that was where the 2.3 miles came from. So I pull over in front of a farm field out there in the high plains of Colorado, and I'm in front of a beautiful sunflower field. It's June. There's glorious sunflowers there. And these big, bright yellow sunflowers are gleaming in the sunlight of the setting sun behind Pikes Peak Mountain that's coming all the way across to those plains, just lighting those sunflowers up like spotlights. And they were so beautiful and cheerful and absolutely, utterly annoying. They were such a stark contrast to what I was feeling. I remember just glaring at those sunflowers through my tears, like, why do you have to be so pretty right now? Because normally that's something I would definitely appreciate. And I couldn't do it then. And I just remember thinking, Heather, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I sat there and I cried. I called my mom. She gave some advice to go to a counselor. That didn't work. So I was just sitting there. Okay, what am I going to do? And then I asked myself a question. And this is where things started to turn around for me. I asked myself, is there another way of looking at this? Is there another way of looking at this? Because all I see is pain. All I see is hurt. All I see is abandonment. And where is this really coming from? If I leave, if I go into Colorado Springs, the big city, and I get a hotel room for the night and I do what I just said I would do, is that really going to fix this? If this marriage were to somehow end and I were to start a new relationship, if that's even possible, right? Because this is how I look right now, like this, not feeling like the hottest thing on the market right now, right? But if I were to find a new relationship, would this still stay with me? And something just struck me inside so sharp and so clear. And I knew that the things that I was feeling, they would stay with me, even into a new relationship. Because what I was really feeling beneath the surface level story that Ben's abandoning me, Ben's cares more about his parents than me, Ben's whatever, Ben's selfish, was that I didn't feel worthy of love. I didn't feel worthy of his love. And that feeling right there, that story would stay with me no matter where I went, no matter who I was with. And if I didn't fix that right there, that feeling, I knew it was inside of me and it wouldn't go away on its own. It was going to stay with me. And that Ben, that wasn't even the problem. That wasn't even what it really was. Yes, there was obviously some things that need to be fixed and need to be worked on there. But that the real thing that was going on wasn't that story I was telling myself about Ben. It was the story I was telling myself about me. Does that make sense? Are you understanding what I'm trying to convey here? Because this is what really turned things around for me, was when I finally knew that the challenges I was experiencing weren't from him or weren't from our marriage or weren't from cancer. It wasn't from any of that. It was from the inner belief that I had that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't good enough. And that if I wasn't good enough, people were going to leave me. Because if you're not good enough, that's what people do. That's the story that I had. And so, bringing this full circle, it's really about uncovering what that is in us. That story of myself that I was holding on to, it blinded me to the reality, right? It blinded me from the reality of what Ben was really doing. I created a false story about him. I had some evidence of what I thought was going on, but that story that he was abandoning me was completely untrue. If I had sought to understand him first, then I would have understood. If I would have asked, why do you want to go talk to your parents? What are you looking for there? How are they helping you? Or what are you seeking there? I would have understood that what he was intending to do was get some support himself, because he'd carried the load for so long by himself, so that he could continue to support me, which isn't abandonment at all. But that was what I thought was true. And it wasn't true. The truth was that he was doing the best that he could. And if I had gotten outside of my own pain and my own story that I was projecting onto him, then I could have had some compassion for him. I could have had some understanding for him. I could have been able to do what I do now. I didn't have those skills back then, to create some healthy boundaries, to say, you know what, I'm okay with you getting support, but check in with me first. Don't just go first to your parents' house. Don't leave me up here for an hour, because that feels very insecure to me. I could have had those conversations, right? But at that time, I didn't have those skills, and I couldn't even see it for what it was. And this false story of Ben nearly destroyed our marriage. It nearly caused me to completely leave him. So we talk about in our path method that it's crucial that we understand what the narrative is, what their story is of us, okay? Because they have a story about us, they have a story about our marriage, and they have a story about themselves, okay? And then where we focus our control, 100% of our control is in our story of ourselves, our story of the marriage, and our story of them. So again, that story of myself blinded me to reality. And you guys are being very, very quiet. So I want to make sure you hear me. I want to make sure this is coming through and I haven't lost connection or something. So does that resonate with you? And can you see how these stories prevent us from having what we really want? The reality is that I am worthy of love. I do deserve love. You know, I am good enough. And so I went on a journey over the next 2 years. And it took about 2 years to really get there, to remove that limiting belief. Because I'm so grateful that at that time I was given that awareness that this is in me and it's not going to go away just by fixing the external things, the external relationship, the external marriage, the external issue of Ben going to his parents. None of that. It had to come from within me. And until I fixed this pain that I felt inside, it was going to continue to manifest. And over the next 2 years, what I learned, and I can articulate this now, I couldn't do it then, but I can articulate this now. I could see the patterns of how that limiting belief, the story that I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love, played out for me from childhood on. I subconsciously pushed away the very things I wanted most. I subconsciously sabotaged it anytime it got close to that. And that would look like an argument. It would look like nitpicking. It would look like criticism. And I would never fully trust him because I always had to have a wall up that was protecting me from what I felt like was going to be more pain. But it was actually ruining everything I really wanted. Awesome. I thank you for sharing this. I did not see how my story was sabotaging my marriage until just now. That is a powerful moment for you that just left this comment, because this is your moment of awareness. This is your moment of awakening. And this is your moment where you can start to turn things around. So over the next 2 years, I was hungry to get out of this pain. I was hungry to try to understand myself. So what did I do? It was ugly. It was an ugly, imperfect journey. I made a lot of mistakes. I would revert back to my old patterns over and over and over, and it would cause Ben and I, and especially myself, but both Ben and I and my family, more pain. And I had a lot of setbacks. However, my desire to succeed, it was greater than those setbacks and those fears. I would realize, okay, I slipped back up into that story again. I need to see myself in a new way. I need to understand where this is coming from. And so I spent, like anyone would, right? I started researching. I got books. I got into podcasts. I started finding some favorite gurus, right? Trying to uncover what it was. I went deep into scriptures, into meditation and prayer. I would watch videos and I took courses, right? This is over the expanse of several years, right? So it's a plethora, hundreds of thousands of hours every day on this journey to understand what was really going on so that I could solve it for real, not on a surface level, but for real, because I wanted real happiness. I wanted real happiness for Ben and I, and a real love and a real relationship. And then once that kind of evolved up, I realized, okay, this free stuff is good. It's pointing in me in some direction, but now I need to really get a mentor. I really need to find someone that can show me how to do this, someone who's gone through this themselves. And so even though we're just recovering financially from cancer, I literally invested tens of thousands of dollars into coaching to get real results. Finally realized that to really get the results I wanted, I needed to find those who had gone through what I'd gone through so that I could learn from them, so that I could duplicate their success, and so that I could feel like someone really understood me. And I was led, I prayed about this, I studied over this, and I found the right people. I'm so grateful that they came into my life. And that's so true. Whenever we're seeking for solutions, the right people, the right circumstances, they do show up. We just have to go overcome our fear and take action on it. So I'm so grateful that I had some mentors and those that showed me what they did to truly get themselves into that place of peace, into that place of inner security. And so I finally did get to that place now where that limiting belief, it no longer rules me. I can remember what it feels like, but it's a closed door and it's not what's running the show for me anymore. I really resonate and I really operate from a place of alignment with the truth that I am worthy. And as I've done that, I've become the creator of my life. I become a deliberate creator of my life. Circumstances don't rule me anymore. External circumstances, they're like a hurricane, and sometimes they roar really loudly around me and they're really challenging. But I know that I'm that calm in the storm. And so those external circumstances no longer take me and toss me all about like they used to, right? I live true to who I really am, then, like I said, those people, relationships, and circumstances that are congruent with that truth, they naturally come to me. They naturally show up. And now what I've done is taking all of that entire process, and I've really thought about what was the most effective, what really made the biggest difference for me. What were those like quantum leaps? If I could take all of those and compact them down, and to distill them down into just a really simple and effective method that I could then give and share with others so that it doesn't take years to change those internal stories, right? We go to therapy for years trying to fix things, and we end up just talking about the problem and rarely ever really solving it. But instead of it taking years to solve those, it's just a matter of literally a few days and sometimes a few weeks. And that's the point where I'm at now, in that ever evolution of progression, because we're never done learning. We're never done progressing. I'm still imperfect and I'm still learning. And I recognize sometimes, oh, wow, I had a limiting belief about that. Right now, it's the one, I can't afford it. That's an old limiting story. And I'm getting that one out of me and stepping into the truth that there is abundance and unlimited possibility, right? And so I can do that process now in a matter of a few days and a few weeks. It does take conditioning, but it's not years anymore. Does that make sense? Would you rather have years of effort or several days or weeks of effort, right? So we all want that fastest path that's really going to make lasting change, not surface level change, but lasting change. And now my passion and my drive was that I wanted to help others be able to do that same thing. And that's exactly what I do every day. It's helping people just like us that are stuck in pain to be able to have incredible, deep level change in themselves. And so they don't need to waste years and tens of thousands of dollars to get there. It's unnecessary. It can happen in just a few weeks. And I want to give you an example of this. So just last night, we were doing our group session, and I was working with one of our clients, a new client. I actually never had the privilege of talking with him before face to face, just over in Facebook Messenger, like I'm friends with many of you there. And we were talking about how he has changed a lot of things in his marriage as far as the physical behaviors, right? The outer behaviors, but he's still feeling the impulse to go down those old habits and go down those old paths. And so working with him on that, we uncovered that he has a strong need to control. And where this need to control comes from was back to his childhood. His mother was not very present in his life, which obviously created a lot of insecurity. So in an effort to feel secure, he would try to control, because control felt better than no control. No control felt awful. So getting into a pattern of really controlling his wife, telling her how she should feel, what she should do, how they should solve this, what it should be like, pushed her further away. And he could see the patterns of that now. And he could see how this pattern of trying to control her actually led to her having an affair. It was one of the contributing pieces of that. It was one of those root issues. And so recognizing that limiting belief that I'm only secure when I'm controlling things, it served him in that it protected him from pain and fear of having no control, which felt worse, but that it was really not serving him in a lot of ways because it was causing chaos in his life. It was causing him pain. It was pushing away his relationships, and it was leaving him actually feeling more insecure. And so being able to identify that story and choosing to thank it for its presence, thank it for its the way that it has served him in his life, and then being able to let it go and replace it. We do a clearing method, and we go through an entire process of removing that limiting belief and working to condition the new belief that he finds security within, and that no external circumstance can take that away. He doesn't need to look to control it out there anymore. He needs to find it within, and it is within him. And he is safe and secure when he goes within. So that's just an illustration. And working now with clients over the years, I've seen how this shift, this internal shift in the story, creates incredible lifelong transformation. All right. And truly, like, they're able to live the rest of their lives knowing how to live from a place of inner peace and happiness. So who here needed to hear that? Who here needed to hear that you can get to that place of true inner peace and true inner happiness as you shift that internal story? I'm seeing me. Yes. Yes, me. I did. Awesome. Yep. Raise your hand if that's you. Who needed to hear this? Does that resonate with you? Does that strike true to your inner being and what it's really calling you to do? Yes. Inner peace, exclamation mark. Awesome. And that is worth everything. That is worth everything. Because until we let go of that story, it will constantly sabotage us from what we really want. And it will continue to show up for us. It's like that ugly monster under the bed or in the closet. And it's just going to keep coming out no matter how many times we try to shove it away or pretend it doesn't exist. It's there. And it's going to keep showing up for us until we put it to rest, until we say, okay, thank you. Goodbye, monster. I'm replacing you with, sunflowers. To go back to my story earlier, we're replacing you with sunflowers, and now we can appreciate you because we're in a state of congruence with your beauty. No, that's a silly thing, but it's really, truly worth everything. If yes, 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 awesome. I want to wake up with inner peace and get rid of this limiting belief. Exactly. And so that's the journey that I went on. And that's exactly why I wake up every day to do what I do, because I see that so many of us are stuck in the same pain. They're stuck in the same cycles, and we can choose to break free from them. So I want to ask yourself, what is the story that is holding me back and keeping me in pain? Okay. And this is one of those deep questions. And I'm going to encourage you. It's not the surface level. It's not what you think is going on in the relationship. Just like I thought Ben was abandoning me. That wasn't the story. That was a false story I put on him. The real story inside was that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't worthy. I wasn't deserving. Okay. So when you can really understand what the story is that's deep inside, that's been running the show for a long time, and there's a lot of evidence of why it's true, but the reality is that it's just a story, and we can choose to let it go. So I want you to take some time and think about that. And if it comes up for you right away, beautiful. You now have that awareness of what that story is. And as it shows up, you can be like, oh, that's the monster in the bed trying to take control here again, right? And we can identify it and start to make that journey of transformation. So, that's the same question. Sorry, I put it in twice. So ask yourself this question then, when you've identified what that story is. Would I like to continue living that story year after year? Because it's your choice. It's okay. If you want to, that's fine. You can do that. You have that ability. You have your own choice. Or am I ready to let it go so I can have what I really want? Am I ready to let it go? And part of you might be like, I'm not really ready to let it go right now because it feels too insecure. It feels too unknown. And that's okay. That's still that defense mechanism showing up for you. And that's exactly what we can work on and show you how to let that go. You're like, I'm not really ready to let it go, but I'd like to open up to that idea at some point, right? And that's the first step. And so that's a huge acknowledgement. But I see so many of you, yes, yes, awesome. Yes, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. That is what it is about. It's about choosing now to own our power and choosing now to discover the truth of who we really are, choosing now to step into becoming the best versions of ourselves. And so Just imagine what that would look like if you had absolute unconditional love for yourself, going through that journey where I was 4 years ago with my spaghetti story, tears, just sobbing, right? To the moment where I'm at that place of just unconditional love and just living in a state of that incredible inner peace, calm, and happiness, regardless of what happens or what anyone else does. Knowing that you have released the limiting beliefs that have kept you in pain for so long and subconsciously sabotaged yourself from having what you really want. Imagine being free of that. How good would that feel? Raise your hand if you want that. I want that. We all want to have that. No more self-sabotage and no more cycles of pain, but truly being completely free of that. Seeing the relationship that you want, romantic relationship, come to you easily and naturally as you become the person you really want to be. That right there is worth everything. So just to bring it full circle here, I tried everything that I thought I was supposed to do to reconnect with Ben. And I was really about to quit. I drove away and I said those words, I can't do this anymore. And as I said those words, that's the only story that I saw until I shifted and said, is there another way of looking at this? What is really causing this pain in me? And if I don't release this now, am I going to continue to live that? Going through that was the one thing that changed everything for me. It was the turning point. Sometimes we got to hit rock bottom, but we don't always have to. We can make a conscious choice, even right now, no matter where we are, to step toward that. So as we welcome, not welcome, there's my dyslexia. As we conclude here today, I just want to thank you and honor you for coming. I know several of you had some really profound breakthrough moments, and I'm grateful and honored to have been part of that journey. And so just remember, my dear friends here, that life, it is short. It is short. We never know how much time we have. Time is precious. So make the most of it now. And if you're really wanting to get there, if you really want me to show you how, you can shortcut all that time and all that effort to really make an incredible, powerful transformation in your life, then just let me know. Say, let's see, what should the word be? Anyone have an idea? True inner peace. That's the word, true inner peace. It's true inner peace. It isn't a Band-Aid, and it isn't some quick fix. It isn't just some temporary feel good, yay, Tony Robbins running through fire, whatever. No, it's not that at all. It's true inner peace. And if you would like me to share with you how we do that in our Path coaching program that we're about to launch, it actually doors open for that tomorrow, which is incredibly exciting. And it's been so radically effective for real lasting change. So we're opening doors for that tomorrow. So if you want to be one of the first ones to have the opportunity to join that, then just put true inner peace and I will message you and we can talk about exactly how we can get you there. So life is precious. Time is precious. So make the most of it now. I honor you. My heart, my love, my appreciation flows out to you. And I look forward to truly seeing you thrive. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon.